Yeah. So what I'm going to be drawing is this um, right here. This is a baby phoenix coming right out of the fire. Okay. And I can, my headset wouldn't work for some reason. That was the problem. So I'm sorry about the echo. All right. So just, if you had printed this out, you simply just take it and you take down your paper with the blue tape, just like that. Okay. Then you take your number 2 pencil and you just rub all over the back like that. Okay. And once you've got that all rubbed out on your little 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, you can simply just lay it down in place. And I put a little piece of tape at the top. So this has already been drawn out previously, and I put the traceable up on Facebook for everybody to grab. Hopefully you were able to find it. So whenever you're drawing something, I usually start with the face and then work my way out. And now that you have this on the back, it's not a problem to just start drawing. I also use something I call magic paper, which is carbon paper. But I didn't think everybody would have that. But as you see, the lines are really faint and it'll pick up right on the other side. So you want to kind of press a little hard and just trace around. And you can do this with just about any drawing. Okay. So this is just a good technique. You get your drawing down real good before you start a watercolor. And you just kind of trace it on out. Just like that. Now this is a little baby goose that I found. I was chased by geese the other day, and it kind of inspired me to use the baby goose. Just like that. You can see that the lines are coming through. And just keep drawing. You don't have to necessarily draw the tree unless you want to. I put it in there because baby phoenixes, old phoenixes, whenever they do their time and want to start over when they're getting too old to be healthy, they will go back to their tree, their original tree, and they will make a nest of different herbs and spices. I believe it's cinnamon and myrrh and a couple other things that they bring. But the myrrh is important because then whenever they get done, they take their ashes and they put them in an egg of myrrh and take it to the sun god. That's the Egyptian myth. So the phoenix is a messenger of the creator. And that's what the purpose of the phoenix would be, is to bring down the messages from the creator and the other side. We'll just call it the other side of the veil. Now this has a lot of like every part of the phoenix is magical. There's many different parts of the phoenix that are magical. The tears can heal, and the feathers were prized for to be made into a potion for immortality. So, and there's a lot more on the phoenix. It's just really hard to research the phoenix because it's so embedded into culture that if you go to look for a phoenix information, you will go down different holes of where people have from different cultures have used it as different things. And it's one of those things that you have to actually put a little bit of time in and to try to find a good source of information that's not been turned into part of the culture. Now this here in the center, this is the spark of life, all new. So I draw that in too. And then before you lift the tape, you definitely want to check and make sure you got all of it drawn. Like I missed this hip right here. I missed that. So then that's good. Everything's on there. Now it's really light on my paper, so I'm going to just darken it in so you can see. But if you were painting this at home, you wouldn't do this step. You would leave it light like this. We have a couple different brushes that we want to use. We have a big brush right here. And then we have a pointy brush. And I have an angle brush. I like to use the angle brush a lot because it gives you an edge whenever you're coming into the sides of the crisp part where you want it to be crisp. The colors that I'm going to use, the Phoenix is always these certain colors. They're red and like a yellow gold and purple. So kind of colors of fire. So I'm going ahead and finish tracing this through. Just like that. And the more you add into it, you can see the cute little squiggly legs. See, the Phoenix actually doesn't stay tiny for long. So this is like the moment of innocence. It almost grows into a full bird within the day that it's born. So it's only innocent for a short while, like this little tiny baby. And I'm just kind of giving you guys a chance to get caught up with me by tracing this twice. I figure, I mean, I'm kind of fast when I draw. This might give you a chance to get yourself caught up. But you can see that we're going to have some really nice areas that we can do the flames in. So this is all going to be flames in the back. All right. And so I have this tree, which it'll be black and charred because even though it doesn't burn down because it's the Phoenix tree, it probably has a name that I did not find in my research, but the tree doesn't burn down. It just gets reborn too. In nature, there are trees that that's the only way the seeds for the tree will grow is if they've been in a fire. So forest fires are a natural thing. And this is probably like that tree, like those trees, where you get you know. Okay, so now we're going to put water on the paper. We're not going to put paint. We're going to put water. And I got this larger brush here, like that. And I'm going to put it in my tub of water. I got clean water to start out with. And I'm not able to see what people are saying. So if
any questions pop up, you don't have to worry about that. I'll take care of them and bring them in.
Okay, great. I couldn't see the question. So basically what you want to do is you want to take your clean water And you want to just wet this background and not paint the baby bird. We're not going to paint the phoenix. We are going to paint the background first. We want to have that contrast in. Now you can do over the tree because the tree is going to be black, so it doesn't matter. But you don't want to paint the baby bird because there's parts of the baby bird that you want to have light, and you don't want your colors to bleed into that. So I'm just putting a nice heavy coat of water like that on the background. So the fun part's going to start real soon. Whenever you start dropping color in, it'll spray out and kind of run with the water. And the paper's going to start bubbling because we're putting this much water down. That's why you have to tape it. I don't tape it just... once you pull the tape up, it's going to have this nice pretty border. But that's not the reason I tape it. I tape it because whenever you add all this water, the paper's going to start curling. Okay, so we've got the water laid in. And if you're having trouble seeing any places you missed, you just look at it on the side and there will be a glare and you can see where the water needs to go. All right, or where it shouldn't go. If you get water where you don't want it to be, you can use paper towel. Paper towel. That was on the list. All right, so I'm going to start adding the reds and the yellows of the sun's blazing and hot fire. I'm going to start out with this color here. This is my color palette. It's a koi palette, but there's also, you can use just your simple pod palette from just colors won't get as dark, or you can get the tube paint, which those do get dark. But for simplicity's sake, all right, I'm going to just pull this color, and as you can see, as I put the color in there, that it starts spreading out and gives it that nice watercolor effect. See how it goes into that puddle of water? And I'm just putting paint. I primed my brush. Priming your brush means just wetting it. And then you want to take and you want to get so we're starting out with the red, but I don't want to go too high because I want to put some yellow in there too. I'm going to blend it backwards. So I'm getting this vibrant red started for the flames. And I'm going to go right up this tree and follow the tree like a flame would. And not do the wing. And just come right past that. Just like that. Okay. Now at the top, I'm going to do yellow. And I'm going to pull that down. But I got to get the red off. So I'm tapping that off. Priming my brush with some fresh water. And hitting that yellow. So it's hard to see watercolor on your brush, though. It's really hard to see the watercolor on the brush, but you get the idea. So you just start at the top. And if it feels like it's a little dry up there and it's not running, just add a little bit of water. A little bit of water, no biggie. We're fixing that. And if you see, I am going to be just coming in a little close to the hair, to the top of the feathers. And I want to blend that red, bring that yellow down into it, just like that. All right, so now you've got a full background going of the colors that we're going to use in the bird. And down at the bottom, I'm going to put the purple in. If I can find my purple. Oh, that's blue. There's the purple. All right. So down at the bottom, I'm going to put the purple because his legs are going to be yellow. And I wanted just have a high contrast right here. So I'm going to put a lot of purple in here at the bottom. And a little bit of red in between this leg here. I didn't put as much water here because it's kind of a tiny spot and I didn't want it to get out of control. And I'm going to dab that up a little bit because that is a little bit too much water, and it'll just get into his leg. And if you see, I can just dab that up. When this dries, it'll be a couple shades lighter than what it is now. So putting it on a little heavy at first might seem like you're going overboard, but you're not. You're not. It's going to dry lighter. All right, so now I've got the background all in. We've got this blended, fun. There we go. Now, on the legs and yeah, we're gonna, on the beak, we're gonna put the yellow, okay? But we're gonna switch brushes. I'm gonna switch to one of our skinnier brushes, a little pointy brush. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna get the yellow. I'm gonna bring it up the legs like that. I'm gonna come on up the leg and the claw. And then I'm going to do the beak like that. Now I'm going to get a touch of the red with the yellow still on my brush. I want to just tap it up here at the edge like that. Clean my brush off. And I don't have any water or paint on here. I'm just going to pull this out.
Okay, we're getting a few
Just
comments about what about the eyes. Looks like we're getting votes for blue eyes.
Blue eyes. I can do blue eyes. I can get the eyes are something I think would change because whenever babies are born, they do have different whenever they grow up. So I can definitely do that. So now we've got to put a little bit of red down in here while this is still wet. And I'll just bring that like that. I got too much water, so I'll just tap it up. I'm going to pull that along the edge. That is shadowing when you do that. You kind of got to do it while it's still a little damp so that it's not a hard line. Watercolor tends to give you hard lines. All right, so now you want blue eyes. I can give you blue eyes. I have a cerulean sky blue that I like to use on almost all my paintings. It's my color. So I'm going to put that in his eyes. So notice how I put my hand. This is all wet. And I'm left-handed. If I put my hand down in that, I'm going to drag it all over the place. So I'm coming from the edge and I'm resting my hand on the tape and I'm putting that color in. With a pretty, this is called dry brushing. And if you just do the bottom edge like that, then take and wipe your brush dry. You've got plenty of water on there. You don't want it to get out of control. You just can kind of pull it around, drag it along like a puppy on a leash. Come on, puppy, get that color around there. All right. And then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Depending on the look you're going for, you want to leave a little bit of glare. So you got to leave that white. You don't want to fill in the whole eye. You want to leave that little bit of area white, because the whiter the paper is how you get white. And if you painted something over and then you decide later to put, you want it white, you have to use a different kind of paint. You have to use gouache or acrylics to fix it. I mean, you can fix it, but I don't tend to do it that way. I tend to just leave the white space where it needs to be. All right, so where this is going yellow and this is going red, I'm going to go yellow, red. I'm going to go opposite. It's going to be a little fun reversal. So down here in the tush area, I'm going to do like an orange, a yellow orange. I'm not going to do straight up yellow because his claws are that golden color. So I'm going to pull this color in around the edges, just like I did on the eye. That way I have control of where it goes. And I just added water to that. I didn't add any more paint. I'm pulling that in. And this is how you get, it's called modeling. Can you see that? Oh, I can't tell if that's blurry or not. Hopefully it's not too blurry.
It's not blurry. You can see it really well.
So we got a little bit of orange over here. We'll pull that up. I'm just following that pencil line, that real light pencil line. Your line should be light. Mine's dark so you can see it, but yours should be just a real fine light pencil line. You see, and I'm adding that little bit of orange to that yellow. So I've got two colors. I've got yellow and orange, and I'm just going to pull that up and get my brush wet and just kind of let it flow towards the middle. All right, so we don't want to paint this though. That's going to be a different color. Yellow and blue make green. So if I want to make this blue, I don't want it to be green. So I don't want to put any yellow under there. So I want to keep that white so that can come back later, paint it blue when it's dry. All right, so we've got this yellow coming quite nicely up there. I think I'm going to do the tips of his wings yellow too. Yellow orange, of course, not just straight yellow. And I'm going to go right along the edge there, because this is kind of a back glow from the fire. This is where the light's coming from, is back here. And so this top part of the wing and probably the top part of his head will be a glow. The rest of him, we're going to go dark red now. We're going to go dark red. So I'm going to take a little bit of red and mix it with a little bit of the brown. Now this is going to make it like a dirty. He's going to be dirty coming out of ashes. Just saying. But I'm going to put this dark color under his chin first. And I'm going to, I wiped off all that excess, and I'm going to pull that down. And this here's part here is dry brushing. But see, I wanted it to be slightly different color than the red background. I want it to be a little darker. So we're getting that in there. And now I'm putting water on my brush to just smooth that out and pull it down into the yellow. Smooth it out. Now I want a hard line under his chin. That's going to define his jawline. So that's why I didn't do a blendy there. But I do want a blendy down here. So we've got this painting almost done, just like that. Watercolor can be done quickly, or you can just keep going at it and going at it and going at it and put layers and layers and layers. All right, I got a darker color going here. I added more brown and more red, and a little bit darker brown there. So I'm getting like a darker, the darker tones of the red, because underneath here is all shadow. There's not going to be any light. coming down under his wing. This is the crevice. This is the dark place under his arm. And we want that to be, I don't want that even darker. I'm not happy with that color. It needs to be darker, darker, darker. There we go, darker. Of course, you can always tap out anything that you don't like. All right. So this has got a little tinge of purple hue to it. I think I got a little bit of the blue in there, which is fine because I needed to add a little bit of purple now because we're going to put that on the wings, some purple. Just like that. You want to kind of blend those together a little bit, just soften that line. I took my brush and I just got a little tab of water, dab, 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 and I just blending that in together, just like that. I'm going to blend this in together too, so that it's not a real hard line. All right. So as you can see, these watercolor paintings can come together pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and do his face now. I'm going to do it with a red orange and not the dark red. So I cleaned my brush. I used my paper towel. I got a lot of paper towel here. So I'm cleaning my brush and I'm getting this like a red orange for his face. And I'm going to come right to the edge of that yellow and then pull it in down here. And I'm just going around just like that. And this gives him kind of a brighter face than the rest of his body. And I'm trying to get rid of the white between his eye and his head. So I'm doing that. And the same color, I think I'm going to touch in these little places where I left space. I think I'm going to put a little bit of that yellow there too, where I left the space, because this is kind of like he's on fire. He is burning it up. Burning it up. Just like a summer. Just like the summer. Oh, that's my, if you're wondering what that noise is, that's my steampunk bracelet for I dressed up. You're only going to see my arms, so I only dressed up my arms. I bought these at the end of Halloween sale. For half off. And I said, I love these and I want these. They're the last pair. Okay, so we've got plenty of little places that we could play around with. But we're going to let some of this dry. And, oh, I missed a little red spot here. Right here. We're going to let this dry in some areas. So that I can use the Sharpie to bring in details. So my plan for the edge of this baby bird, maybe, oh, I know, there's some purple down in here. We can go ahead and put another layer of purple down here, I think. Get that red and blue make purple. If you don't have purple, red and blue make purple. All right. So I'm just going to add a little bit of scorched earth here. And scorched earth here. Just like that. I'm just adding a little bit of flame action in the air. Just there's a fun thing I like to do. It's called splatter. So I'm going to get that dark blue I just had on there And I'm going to, so there's paint on here, and there's about to be paint on these. So you take your finger and your brush and a little bit of water with that paint on there, and you just lightly tap. And you want to come to the edge. And this kind of gives that ashy sparkle randomness. Like if you sat there and drew all the dots, they'd all be the same size. But if you do it this way, they're different. They're different sizes. Now I'm going to get red. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get a wet red brush. Just lightly, just lightly tap. Oh, this is going to be the fun little added bonus sparkle. Okay. I don't like the drips right here on his face, so I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to tap. It's gone. Magic. This is magic here. All right, so now it's time to put the spark of life in his belly. Hopefully this isn't going too fast, but this is, you know, just how it goes. It just kind of keeps flowing. So we're going to put that bright blue that we used for his eyes, whatever blue you used, and we're going to just kind of trace this shape. Trace it like this. Okay. We're going to pull that in with just a clean brush, a little bit of water. And there's his spark. Spark. Now we come back to the eye that is over here. And we're going to put a little bit darker blue. It just, oh, I don't even know how to tell you. Okay, let me try this. I'll put a little bit of that blue purple color here. And I'm going to scrape that off. I don't even want that much on there. And I'm going to take the point. And I'm going to come above his eye like eyelashes. And we'll just trace the outside of his eye. This should be dry because I played around all over here to let this dry. You want to do this with this completely dry. And this kind of is like eyeliner, which adds the dimension that his eye is in the socket. And then he's got a little nostril. So I'm going to add that right there. Notice I didn't use any black on this. I don't normally use black, except for with my Sharpie. And I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. Right there. And over here. Just like that. And that gives his eye a couple different colors. And I think that I'm going to put a little bit of red glare in there for the flame. I'm just going to do like little dots of red. When you look at an eye, it's an iris. It's round ball inside it, and then you have the iris in the center, and it's a focal lens, and it closes and opens, and so it usually has striations around the pupil. And so when I put the red in, if you put the red in and do it like lines, you don't want to do a lot or he'll look like he's got bloodshot eyes. And then I'm going to take some purple. I'm going to add that in there. This is just going to give his eye a little bit of life, because if you noticed before with it just being blue, it was sort of kind of coloring book level. And all you have to do is add a second or third color in there, and it gives that eye dimension. Now, for the most part, this is dry. There's some, I got a little crazy in here with the water. It all kind of like absorbed here, but for the most part, this is dry. So that's whenever you want to bring in the Sharpie. Just like that. We're going to add the flare to this. So there's several layers to doing this. You want to take the pointiest point of your Sharpie and just, hopefully you don't have a fat Sharpie like this, and you just want to kind of come down and draw in your Phoenix. Little baby Phoenix. You should still be able to see your lines since you were using them to paint by. But I can see mine really big time, so I'm going to have to trace over it so you don't see the pencil lines. And that's his little chest. Now, if you get to a part that's not dry all the way, just skip over it because the Sharpie won't work as well on wet places. Like this is my wettest place, so I wasn't sure if that would work right there. Then I'm going to come down, I'm going to get his little spindly legs, which to me is the funnest part of the... This also cleans up where any of the paint might have went over and blended into there. It'll clean that up. And there we go. We're doing a little hip. And we're doing a little wing. We're coming down under the armpit. There's a baby bird. Now I'm going to put a little pupil in there. Since I put that glare, he kind of needs it. And then up at the top, I'm going to give him a little fun swirly cue because I want to. And I'll put a little, this is the fun part. I'm just adding now. There's the little flames coming off his, this is where I added that yellow. So I'm just kind of making it look like flames coming off of him. Now you have your tree in the background, which was optional, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull that tree in, being mindful not to drag my arms through any of these wet dots that I got going on. And the tree, you know, just kind of just have fun with the tree. Make you some jaggedy sharp lines in places and some crooks. You want to have a place where the nest could sit though. So my nest sits right in there and it's on fire. And I'm just kind of adding branches until I get tired of adding branches. Over and over and over again. Trees have lots of little twigs on them. And this tree's on fire, so some of those twigs will be burnt off. But we're just going to go ahead and have fun with this part. And hopefully while you're doing this, your heart rate has come down. You've forgotten about your problems for a minute. You've focused on the Phoenix and what the Phoenix means and how you can use the Phoenix for rebirth and renew in your own life. Notice this Phoenix isn't looking back. He's forgotten the past and he's moving forward, and he's not even ashamed of it. He's excited to start afresh and anew. He's practically like one of those action heroes where they blow up the thing and walk away. Don't look back.
Well, we've got some
That's
comments. One, we got a question. When are you going to name
fun.
the paintings?
So I don't know how close I am to time, but the painting's pretty much done.
Cool.
You might
You've
want
got
to add your little name on there. So Hemsworth.
We still have 15 minutes, and you've got some comments and questions waiting
What?
for you. You still have 15 minutes, and we've got questions, and I've got some questions too. One of our people said that he's totally into the authentic idea of that the elemental colors of the flames, loving it. Another one commented they understand about keeping your hand over on the tape because they do stuff with gel pens.
Yeah.
Another commenter wanted to know what you're naming your paintings.
Well, this one is New Beginnings. So this one, that's what this one is named.
Okay. Well, what happens if you get too much water and it starts diluting your colors?
You use paper towel and you just dab it up, and then you reload. You take the brush, and see this has got like a drip of water coming off of it, and you just kind of lay it like that, and then go back at it. You can actually use the brush itself to suck up water. So say you've got a dry brush and you put it down, it'll pull the paint up and remove it from the space. So like if I had all that water there and I wanted it to, it's like a basting brush, like a baster. Well, that's what the bristles do. It sponges it up. So there's a couple different ways. So if you didn't have a paper towel, you could use your brush clean and suck up the water that way. There's several different ways to do it.
Okay. And what if people haven't worked with
now,
water
notice when
before? Any tips?
Well, it's a forgiving medium for the most part. Just don't. Okay, so the worst thing you could do when you first use watercolor is misuse your brush. Don't go like this, or you'll rub a hole in your paper. If you get too much water in the area and you start rubbing it, you will just make a hole in your paper, and there's no fixing that. That's the only thing that I can't tell you how to fix, is if you oversaturate your paper and then rub it real hard with your brush. The best thing to do if you get a lot of water, soak it up, let it dry a little bit, and then go back at it. And that's what I recommend on that.
Wonderful. And how long does it normally take to dry? Do you have to seal it or anything?
No. I do recommend, now your paper's going to look like a little wavy thing when you're done. So some people will lay like a newspaper over it and iron it flat. But for the most part, watercolors are framed behind glass, and that's just how they're presented, because it's paper. So you don't need to seal it. There's no need to seal or anything. Once you're done with the paint, and like this is already done. This is already dry. I could go right into this and do another layer. If you let something dry overnight and go back at it, you'll get a better, so say you don't finish it the first day, you can go right back in it. It's workable. You can go and do more to it the next day.
Okay. And flip the camera up and tell us a little bit about your shop, where it's at, other things that you're doing.
Okay. So, oh, there I am. This is my shop. We've got a lot of different vintage items going on right now. I got a hoard of figurines. I just got some teacups in, and we have paintings all around. We've got 2 rooms. We're on the 3rd floor of the Oddfellows building, and we're doing shirts now. This is for this particular thing that I'm doing right now. We have artist therapy shirts. They're $15. I designed this and screen printed it myself. We have records. We have a lot of old-timey records, $1 each, which is a great deal. Some of these are really nice. And we have a record player, so you can even listen to them before you buy them. Now we have the corner. This is called our Witchy Corner. And this has got just about everything you would want, except for tarot cards, which I'm working on a deck. But so we've got like the feathers and the paper. Then we have candles and oils. We've got, I really love salt, so we have a lot of salt. I have pink salt, and I have black salt, and you can get that by the scoop. Like the scoop is like a little scoop. That's 50-cent scoop. I have rocks. I have so many rocks. I just got a big mess of flint. And I dug this myself, harvested it myself in Ohio at the Nethers farm. So this could be turned into either arrowheads or whatever, or you can use this as an altar piece, or you can strike it to start fires. But this is part of the element of fire that I have in the shop. We have sage, we have some homemade hats, we've got more vintage stuff. We got so many different things, and people usually get overwhelmed. They usually get overwhelmed when they come in here.
Yeah.
Because we have so many.
And where are you located at?
We are in Charleston, downtown Charleston. On corner of Lee and Capitol is the Oddfellows building, and we're on the 3rd floor on the Lee side. So across from Davis Park, if you know Charleston. You can Google us. We're in the Google system, so you can find us that way. And we do commission work. We do we constantly have paintings. We've got a sale going on today that if you come in with a mask and gloves for the tea party I'm doing later, you can have a free print, and you get to choose a print from this wall. I have 8x10s here that are originals. So anyways, that's what we got going here.
Good. Very great. And what's your normal hours?
How is everybody doing? Excuse me?
What's the normal operation hours?
Oh, we're on COVID crisis hours. So we have Saturdays and evenings after 5. And hopefully Mary, the other tinker, will be being able to open the shop. But we are having, so we're here by appointment.
Okay.
Necessarily. If you want to come in here, I can find somebody to open the shop for you. But I have a lot of people who have health issues that work for me. So I don't want to risk their health. But
exactly. Clearly understandable. That's why we moved Pagan Pride to virtual. But no, and what are some of your favorite watercolors or your favorite subjects you've done?
I do a lot of animals. I have my very first series of watercolors was this tarot deck. It's not a tarot deck; it's oracle cards. And I've kind of lived with these for a long time, and they've always made people happy. So I finally made them into a deck. There's about 16 of them, and they're different animals, West Virginia wildlife animals. And I like to do contemporary themed things, so TV shows and other fun things like that. But my class, sometimes my students will pick what I want to do. They'll teach me about things, and then I'll learn and I'll investigate, and every part of it is research. All of the stuff I do, I research before I dive into it. But here's a little Bigfoot I did. Can you see it? Here. Little baby Bigfoot. because somebody was interested in cryptids. So it's just how whoever takes my classes, they get to have a say in what they get taught.
Cool.
It's just how I like to do things.
Yeah.
Because I can paint anything.
Yeah, you can. You do a lot of great work. The shop looks really nice. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. We'll see you again next year.
Okay, well, hopefully we get to see each other in person. You do a great job, Raven, and enjoy the day. Okay.
You too, darling. Bye, darling. All right, so we have some things to talk about. Lady Gwen, you are up on live stream.